Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you had very good one-to-one meetings with your investor or your startup that you were matched with. We're going on, continuing right away because we're way behind schedule. We also made some changes to the program that you will find out in a minute. We're now going to a very interesting second pitch by André Stolz. He's pitching EcoWorth Tech, a very interesting company that very recently also got even featured on CNN. So really pay attention to this pitch if you didn't already talk to him. This is a very interesting company. André, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Robin, and hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is André Stolz, and I have left my previous well-paid corporate job to follow my passion for sustainability and to make an even bigger impact to environment and society. And at EcoWorth Tech, I get to turn waste to worth. Did you know that 80% of world's wastewater is being dumped back into the environment, largely untreated? To treat the waste is very complex and often creates additional waste. While on the other hand, legislation is tightening in almost every country, and the corporates through their CSR programs require the reuse of water. EcoWorth Tech has a solution to it by turning waste to worth. We are focusing on industrial water treatment, oil decontamination, and maritime, all sizable large markets. And as you will see, we have modular solutions that we can tailor to both smaller and bigger players in the market. EcoWorth Tech is commercializing what I would describe as an environmentally friendly super absorbent sponge technology that we call the carbon fiber aerogel, or CFA. The material, which I'm holding in my hand, and you can see on the screen, is made out of a cellulosic biomass and ultra efficient in the absorbency of a wide range of liquid organics like oils, grease, fats, dyes, solvents. The material can take up to 190 times its own weight. And like a sponge, and you can see that here in the video, we can simply mechanically squeeze out these absorbed organics and reuse them, and then redeploy the sponge over and over again. The nice thing is that this material is made out of a cellulosic biomass, so we can use either renewable materials like kapok or cotton. We can use natural waste materials like fruit bunches from the palm oil trees, or fibers or husks. We can use even waste paper or carton. With our environmentally friendly process, we turn that into CFA, and then we can treat water, remove the organics or the oil, reuse the water, and even at the end of the lifetime or the used up CFA still has a use in constructions and soil amendment. So it's a very nice circular economy kind of principle, or how we call it, the waste to worth. And with that, of course, we are supporting several sustainability development goals as laid out by the United Nations. EcoWorth Tech is bringing this CFA into various form factors. And as you could see in the video, it's suitable for the absorbency of oil. So we help companies here to either remove oil from interceptors or oil movement traps, or provide solutions to prevent the oil from entering the ocean. For industrial water, we have water treatment solutions that focus on removing the organics for potential reuse. And we have our two-stage treatment system doing so, where in this kind of pilot, we've been validating by treating 2,500 liters of perfume wastewater that we can not only reuse the water that was highly contaminated, but also recover about 80% of these available perfume oils that you can see here in the picture. And that, of course, at half of the cost and with positive environmental impact. And so we can do for a wide range of industrial clients. For oil and gas, we've also been integrating our CFA into heavy-duty filters, and found our first paying customer in the oil refinery, the so-called sour water application. And this filter is really reliable, removes the oil, and works during process upsets, and enables our client to get a 40x ROI on our solution. And this is exactly now our first speech market, where compared to other solutions out there, we found one where we have a clear point of difference in terms of the reliability or the performance, the environmental impact, and we help to realize savings, mostly in the subsequent treatment steps where chemicals are being used. For us, this is our first beachhead market, the oil refineries. There is in total 4 applications that we're going after, where this filter works as a plug-and-play solution. For us, this is a potential sales revenue of $50 million with a stunning 75% gross margin at this stage, even though we have a limited supply. And compared to other sorbent technologies out there, we believe we are the only one with a clear point of difference on the oil recovery, the positive environmental impact, and low cost. The technology has been invented by NTU, and EcoWorth Tech took a global exclusive license on this patent and is developing further foreground IP around the recuperation. The team that brings this innovation to life consists of experts with both scientific and business expertise, and each of them is as passionate to take this technology to market. And we're still having a good partnership with NTU. Our business model is mostly centered around the sales of carbon fiber aerogel that is housed in filters, cartridges, and booms. And we've also identified a couple of upsides that make our financials even more attractive. Fortunately, we've been featured by various global and regional medias, but I would say most importantly, we've received some certifications and positive reviews from clean tech experts like the Isle Utility or Solar Impulse that now enables us to get to clients highly efficient. At this stage, we've secured a quite promising sales pipeline. We predict very profitable gross margins of about 50 to 60%. And we're working with a couple of corporates, as you can see here, on additional product market fit. So at this stage, we're raising 500,000 in order to convert additional sour water clients into paying customers before we go to full commercial sales and expand geographically. So if you do want to be part of our journey to take this amazing technology to market, please support us and invest in us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andre, for that really nice pitch. You already know that I really like EcoWorth Tech in what you guys do. Everybody, if you have questions for Andre, please put them on the Q&A box again. I'm not sure, Vince, about the background music. I didn't hear that, so that's got nothing to do with Andre. While we wait for other questions to come in, what would your favorite kind of investor look like if you get to choose anybody? Like, what's important for you?
So important for me, I think, is those that potentially have connections to industries that could help open doors. We are aware that our B2B approach has relatively long sales cycles. So anyone with who can help us open some of the doors is very welcome. Mm-hmm. And of course, like-minded individuals that can either guide us on how to move forward or want to get actively involved, we're also looking for.
Okay. And a totally different question. You compare your solution to different other solutions. You mentioned that you're doing pilots in the oil industry already. For a customer of yours to switch over to your solution, is that very difficult? Like, how do they go through that decision cycle? Is it something that they can do quite easily? Can you describe a little bit for people like me who are not industry, how they can make that switch?
Yeah, so for the first oil customer, it took us quite some time. So we've done 3 months actual pilot in the actual production equipment before the client has then validated all the results and was willing to move into commercial negotiation. So of course, with the first client, it's always difficult because you need certain success story first. Luckily, the client was willing to publicize that, and with that case study, is of course easier, and we get easier tractions from new clients. But we do still expect from major clients to do a similar pilot before we go into commercial stage. Okay,
but that's from like a commercial sales timeline perspective, purely technical. Is it very difficult for a customer to make the switch?
So the solution that we've developed is a kind of plug and play. So either the client has a similar solution out there that we can replace, or if the client doesn't have a solution, then we would provide that, of course, and the client can reuse the organics and water on the site. And for some solutions, we also can support existing clients with existing treatment solutions as a complementary solution. and then maybe extend lifetimes of their existing equipments, or to provide a higher reliability. So, and that is something where we, of course, can help with the clients to work out on the business case, and also then relatively easy test before and after in our lab.
Okay, thank you. We have a question by Vince. What is your current major challenge to scale up for you as a team, I guess?
Yeah, so we have currently two challenges. One is, I would say, still the relatively long sales cycle. When we engage new clients, right, we're still relatively small. We need to create case studies and show smaller trials first before we can get to discuss about doing an actual pilot on the client's equipment. And secondly, for us, the challenge also has been to get funding. Of course, to produce the material requires assets. So we require a big furnace that is not so cheap. And we have been also experiencing that a bit of a chicken and egg, where now we have some clients and we may get some investments, but to ask for a big amount of investment at this stage is still something that investors are not generally so open. So that's why now at this stage we are raising a small amount, trying to get more paying customers, show that we have client tractions, and then the next investment round will go into production capacity.
Okay. A common startup problem, but maybe there's an investor that will help you with that. So we're going to the final question. Because of time, we have to continue from there. That question is from Chandni from Plug and Play Ventures. Do you have any other use cases besides food waste and oil?
Okay, we actually have a couple of ideas where we can use that. One is in the textile industry, where we've done some pilot on turning textile waste into CFA, and then use CFA either for water treatment in the textile industry or for insulation material, because the material is a good insulator for heat and cold. Another use case we're currently working on is in the palm oil industry, where we convert empty fruit bunches into our material, and then we apply CFA to extract the remaining oils from a palm oil mill, and then also use the remaining of the CFA to treat the palm oil waste. And we even have a use case now, or an idea we built with the cosmetics industry, where we incorporate CFA into, let's say, facial creams to absorb excess skin oils, and that are higher performing versus current creams or cleaners with activated carbon. So it's a quite wide variety.
Have you tested it on yourself? Not
yet, but I will for sure. The material is safe, so there's no issue around that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andre. I'm sorry, because of the time, we really have to wrap it up here. But your fundraising information is available on the platform, and you're around for the next round. Good luck with finding good investors for your company. And with that, we're continuing with the program. Andrew, I'm not sure if you're already on the stage. If not, please join, or Sakshi shoot me a message what I need to do. So we're changing the program a little bit around, because there have been a lot of people flipping in and out, and I do think the next speaker is very interesting, and a lot of you are joining to hear him talk about carbon certificates. Hi, Andrew. Welcome here on the Zero Emissions Demo Day. Thank you very much for joining. We're going to talk a little bit about carbon credits, because this can be a relevant instrument both for investors and for startups. But before we go more into that, can you please first tell us a little bit about who you are and what Air Carbon Exchange is?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Robin. So yeah, Air Carbon, we are an exchange for carbon credits. We tokenize carbon credits, and we use blockchain. And we provide a platform for buyers and sellers to come together and help project developers sell their credits to companies that may want to offset or potentially invest and hold these carbon credits. I actually relatively new to the company, came from S&P Global and have a commodities background, and yeah, I think carbon is a commodity and it needs to be commoditized. So I mean, on to the question about the carbon market. You have there's two markets. You have the compliant market, which is a sort of a cap and trade, and that's basically it's a permission to pollute, and it's government led and can only be used in that specific country. And then there's the voluntary carbon market, and that is where air carbon sits. These are carbon credits that are generated by registries and validated carbon projects. The voluntary carbon market basically helps direct capital and finance to these different types of carbon projects globally, and that helps remove, reduce, or avoid carbon emissions. And these credits can be used by companies, on a voluntary basis for their ESG reporting, and it help them offset their carbon footprints.
Thank you very much for that introduction. To me, it's very clear. For anybody who is maybe not yet clear, make sure to post your question in the Q&A. So now that we understand a little bit the basics of carbon credits, can you explain more about how they are actually created? Because there's kind of a process to it. They don't just come on your platform out of thin air. So how is a carbon credit? How does it come to existence?
Yes, I mean, it's an interesting space. I mean, you've got to prove, if you're an existing business, you've got to show what's sort of business as usual, and then show that you're changing from that to sort of qualify. If you've been running a business, a factory, and you've been doing all these good things already, you wouldn't be able to get carbon credits in return. So you've got to show that there's a change. So, but from sort of the beginning, what happens is a project needs to showcase their project design documents. So this is early stages, right before it's operational. This outlines the project's expected emission reductions, what good it's doing, and then they need to this to be validated by a registry such as Vera and Gold Standard. They're the two main registries. I think Vera is is the larger one, of about 60% of carbon credits in the voluntary market. So then once the project is operational, it's then verified again, and all going well, and they're doing what they said they were going to do. Vera or Gold Standards or whatever registry they're using would then provide and issue the carbon credits. So, not for smaller projects, this normally happens once or so a year. For bigger projects, throughout the course of the year, they might issue these credits. So the project developers then has the credits in their registry, and then they have the option to sell these credits into the marketplace. These carbon credits have a monetary value in the market and can be sold to anyone potentially. So say if a freight company is looking to offset their carbon footprint, they can buy these credits and attach it to one of their voyages, and this will help offset their carbon footprint for that. So the project in turn receives these funds, and then they can use them to keep running the project, to expand the project. So it's making sure money goes back and keeps away the palm oil farmers from coming in and buying the land. And then once the person who bought these credits, they can retire them and they'll use those offsets to offset their carbon footprint. So, and something I want to point out, an important point to understand is that offsetting, so this buying carbon credits and using them to retire to offset your footprint, it's not a silver bullet. It doesn't solve the problem. It should be used alongside companies that are reducing their carbon footprint. So as a company, you should look at how you can reduce your footprint, and obviously you can't do this overnight. It has to be a process. It may take many years, but you can reduce it a little bit at a time. And then what you can't reduce immediately, you can then offset to say, okay, we're going to offset and cover what we can't do. So we're going to do some good. We're going to invest in these projects and help them remove or reduce the carbon.
Okay, and you're talking about projects where you can go to Vera and to other auditing agencies that help you make it a carbon credit. What type of projects are they? Like, what kind of organizations really do those applications for the carbon credits?
Yeah, I mean, it's wide and vast. There's a huge amount of different projects out there. You have technology, carbon capture, which is a massive premium, and that can cost anything from $100 to $400 a ton. And then you have sort of your more common nature-based of rainforest, protecting rainforest, but then you have ones that expanding the rainforests as well. You have hydro dams. I mean, the sort of the biggest success, and it's a good case study, is solar. That used to be able to be issued with carbon credits, and they're going to stop doing that now because in the old days it was very expensive, solar, and they issued the carbon credits to help people finance that. But as technology evolved and people had the money, it brought the price point down. So now it's actually it's a benefit to have a solar plant. It doesn't cost that much to set up. So and people using these credits to offset is wide and vast. The large commodity trading houses, ship companies, anyone can use it, and we all have a carbon footprint. So I think that's the key.
So final question. I'm sorry, but it's already quite late. Unless anybody has questions on the Q&A, so send those in if anybody has those. So today we have a lot of investors joining here and startups. Is there any way that startups or investors can make use of carbon credits to, for example, partly leverage the development of their company? Like, why are carbon credits interesting for the people that are attending today?
I think it's interesting because I strongly believe that everything in the future will have some form of carbon attached to it. We all have a carbon footprint. Every company has a carbon footprint, and obviously the first wave is going to be the industry providers, airlines, freight, commodity traders, but it will filter down to the retail level. So I strongly believe that the companies need to position themselves, and if they can offset their carbon footprints, I do believe that the demand from clients will react to that, and it will have a positive effect. So our platform is, with blockchain, with smart contracts, is actually quite an easy process to sign up or attach a product to it. But yeah, I think as the governments get involved, regulations are going to get stricter, compliance is going to sharpen up, and everyone's going to have to be accountable for their carbon footprint.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew, for sharing a little bit about carbon credits, and of course also about air carbon. By the way, since we have a lot of startups here, how long has air carbon exchange been around? Do you consider yourself a startup, or you think you're past that stage already?
We're sort of in that middle ground, I'd say. I think that the company was founded in 2018, but the actual exchange went live in January this year, the end of January this year. So I think we've expanded. I think 25 people globally. We've got offices in numerous countries now, and we're expanding aggressively. So it's just coming out the back end of a startup, I'd say.
So a scale up, I think the term is in jargon.
There we go.
So, thank you very much for sharing about that. Also, a lot of success with air carbon and scaling that up across the planet. It was very interesting that we learned a little bit about this topic. With that, we're going to the final round of meetings. If you can stop sharing for a second, Andrew, so I can share my screen. Thank you. So I've been talking to 2 people in the meantime, so I don't have any idea what has been happening with people dropping in and out of the call. But I have updated the schedule based on what was the situation. Sorry. What was the situation just before we went to the speakers? So based on who was there then, the following investors and startups were around. So please make sure to find your name and either meet that investor or startup in round 3. If anyone is not here, either a startup or an investor, there's not much we can do, except I don't have to replan anymore. So if you want to know more about the Zero Emissions Fund and tell me more about your company, I'm going to be around too. I'm going to pick a random table, so just look for my logo. So I'm the joker in this planning. We had 2 very cool pitches, in my opinion, for today, and a very good speaker. We're not going to come back here centrally anymore, so we're going to put an announcement on your screen when the 3rd round is over after 20 minutes. Please stay around as long as you like for the general networking. My team is going to be either at the general networking table or at the startup buddy table, so you can come over to visit us as well. So this was the last time that you saw me here centrally. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. You're very welcome to join our next event, which will be December 16th. Also here again on AirMeet. If you want to join that, make sure to register via the website. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you very much to my team, Sakshi, Rohit, and Darius. As always, you guys did a great job. And we'll see you again next month.